He quit 3 days before everything was about to change. No warning, no goodbye, just silence. The kind of silence that follows when a man is tired of believing. At 29, Ethan Cole was invisible to the world. Not homeless, not famous, just existing in that dangerous middle where dreams slowly suffocate. He lived in a small apartment above a closed laundromat in a forgotten part of Ohio. The heater worked only when it wanted to. The walls were thin enough to hear the neighbors argue about money every night. Ethan knew that argument well. It lived in his head. He worked nights at a warehouse, stacking boxes that weren't his, building futures that didn't include him. 10 hours of lifting, scanning, walking. Same routine, same gray mornings. Same numb ride home while the sun came up and reminded him he was still stuck.
That word became torture. Because close doesn't pay bills. Close doesn't quiet fear. Close doesn't stop the voice that wakes you up at 3 a.m. asking how long you can keep lying to yourself. By year 6, Ethan had lost count of how many times he thought about quitting. He imagined a normal life, a stable job, weekends off, no constant anxiety. Peace sounded tempting. The final blow came quietly. An email from the one accelerator program he had pinned everything on. The last door he believed could change his life. Thank you for your application. We regret to inform you. He stared at the screen for a long time. No anger, no tears, just emptiness. That night, for the first time, he didn't open his laptop. He lay on the floor instead, staring at the ceiling, listening to the pipes click, feeling the weight of every year press down on his chest. Maybe this was the sign. Maybe he had pushed long enough. 3 days later, he made the decision. He deleted the files, canceled the domain, closed the notebook where every idea lived. It felt like cutting off a part of himself, but it also felt quiet. And quiet can be dangerous. That word became torture. Because close doesn't pay bills. Close doesn't quiet fear. Close doesn't stop the voice that wakes you up at 3 a.m. asking how long you can keep lying to yourself. By year 6, Ethan had lost count of how many times he thought about quitting. He imagined a normal life, a stable job, weekends off, no constant anxiety. Peace sounded tempting. The final blow came quietly. An email from the one accelerator program he had pinned everything on. The last door he believed could change his life. Thank you for your application. We regret to inform you. He stared at the screen for a long time. No anger, no tears, just emptiness. That night, for the first time, he didn't open his laptop. He lay on the floor instead, staring at the ceiling, listening to the pipes click, feeling the weight of every year press down on his chest. Maybe this was the sign. Maybe he had pushed long enough. 3 days later, he made the decision. He deleted the files, canceled the domain, closed the notebook where every idea lived. It felt like cutting off a part of himself, but it also felt quiet. And quiet can be dangerous.
Quitting didn't bring relief. It brought a different kind of pain. At first, Ethan told himself he was free. No more late nights. No more false hope. He picked up extra shifts at the warehouse, started sleeping more. But something inside him started rotting. Every morning, he woke up with a heaviness he couldn't explain. Not sadness, regret. The kind that sits deep and whispers, "You walked away." He tried to distract himself. Gym, movies, mindless scrolling. Nothing worked, because every distraction reminded him of what he had buried. Late at night, he caught himself reaching for the laptop, then stopping, like someone who quit smoking but still touches the empty pocket. The worst part wasn't failure. It was not knowing if he failed too early.
He replayed moments over and over. The pitch that almost worked. The feedback that said one more iteration. The user who emailed, "This actually helped me." Close. That word again. Fear started changing shape. It wasn't fear of failure anymore. It was fear of being ordinary. Fear of telling his future self, "I gave up when it got uncomfortable." Loneliness wrapped around him. Not the loud kind, the quiet kind where no one checks on you because you look fine. At work, he watched people twice his age still stacking boxes, broken bodies, tired eyes, talking about retirement like it was a fantasy. One night, an older coworker patted him on the back and said, "Smart kid like you won't be here long." Ethan forced a smile. He had been hearing that for years. That same night, he walked home in the cold, hands in his pockets, head down. Passed by a bar where laughter spilled onto the street, people celebrating something, anything.
He wondered what it felt like to win at something. At home, he opened a drawer he hadn't touched since quitting. Inside was the old notebook. He didn't mean to, it just happened. Page after page of ideas, diagrams, notes written at 2 a.m. by someone who still believed. His chest tightened. He remembered why he started. Not money, not validation. It was the feeling of building something that didn't exist before, of proving to himself that he could endure. But endurance has a limit, or so he thought. That night, he didn't sleep. He thought about the version of himself 5 years from now. Still working nights, still tired, still wondering, what if? He also thought about the other version, the one who tried again, failed again, maybe even lost more. Both paths scared him, but only one scared him forever.
The turning point didn't come with fireworks. It came with an email. A simple one from a user he barely remembered, someone who had used an early version of his product months ago. The subject line read, "Did you shut it down?" Ethan almost deleted it. Instead, he opened it. The message was short. "I don't know what you're building now, but that tool helped me when nothing else did. If you ever bring it back, let me know." That was it. No praise, no money, no guarantee, but it hit harder than any rejection ever had, because it proved one thing. It mattered. Ethan sat there, staring at the screen, heart pounding, not from hope, from clarity. He realized something brutal. He hadn't quit because he failed. He quit because he was afraid of succeeding and still not being enough. Close meant responsibility. Close meant no more excuses. Close meant the next step would cost more than comfort. That night, he made a different decision.
Not to win, not to go big, just to show up again. He reopened the laptop, recovered what he could, rebuilt what he couldn't. Slowly, quietly. No announcements, no promises. He gave himself one rule, 1 hour a day, no matter what. Some days that hour felt useless, bugs everywhere, progress invisible. Other days, something clicked. Weeks passed, nothing magical happened. Then months. He fixed things no one would ever see, improved parts no one would praise, learned discipline the hard way. There were setbacks, a server crash that wiped weeks of work, another rejection, a month where rent was almost impossible. But this time, he didn't quit, because quitting had already hurt enough. The breakthrough came quietly, like everything else. A small company reached out. They wanted to use his tool internally. No headlines, no applause, just a contract that paid enough to breathe. Ethan didn't celebrate. He worked. He improved the product, supported users, fixed problems at 2 a.m. like he always had, except this time, someone was on the other side. More emails followed, slow, steady. A year later, he left the warehouse. 2 years later, he hired one person. 5 years after he almost quit forever,
Ethan stood in that same apartment, different walls, same city, looking out the window as the sun came up. But this time, he wasn't tired. He thought about the version of himself who quit 3 days before everything changed. He didn't hate him. He understood him. Pain doesn't mean you're weak. It means you're close. Most people don't fail at the start. They fail at the edge, right before growth demands more than comfort. Ethan learned that winning isn't about talent or luck. It's about staying when leaving feels reasonable. Because sometimes the only thing separating the ones who make it from the ones who don't is 3 days and the courage to endure them.